Hey guys, welcome to this week's podcast episode. And I've got a fantastic guest for the audience. Today's guest, Sharon Fillmore. She's the founder and CEO of the Vital Link. She's also an author and she's got a coaching and course program that we're going to talk about a little bit later. But her central thesis is all around communication and how it leads to different ways to achieve more health, wealth, and happiness, which she's going to elucidate for us today. I'm really happy to bring her on the show and introduce her. So, Sharon, welcome.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's a great day today. So,
Yeah, I really love your work that you're doing, and you were a former nurse, and now you're transitioned into life coaching, and you've got built this product to help your clients. So, talk about your journey, and I'm really excited about the delving into the meat of the show.
okay. So, my journey is I started out working as a nurse. It's been well, it's a little over 45 years, so it's been a little while. And I worked in multiple areas. I did a lot of trauma nursing, a lot of ICU, emerge, that kind of work. And from there, I went into working in the community. And from the community, I went into teaching. And I taught for about 10 years. And I was actually at a course and I was helping somebody, and someone turned around and said, "You're a coach." And I said, "Oh, no, I'm not." And the person that was running the program said, "Oh, you are." And from there, I started taking coaching courses, and voila, I became a life coach.
Yeah, and so I love this idea. And with this idea from background in healthcare, talk about this need for more life coaching for healthcare workers and how your work and your programs help with that.
Okay, healthcare workers before the pandemic were already stressed. They already had not enough staff. They were overworked and tired already. So once the pandemic hit, burnout hit much more quickly.
Mhm.
And with that comes a myriad of things like the exodus of all levels of healthcare, of in all levels, and the changes in the dynamics of how things are done. And one of the things that I would love to bring back, particularly to professionals and people in healthcare, because you're near and dear to my heart, is helping you to find ways to relieve the stress, ways to distract you, and especially ways to communicate with all the people around you, whether it's your patient, your coworkers, or your management, because there's different ways to communicate with everyone. Some are very basic, and some move into other realms. So,
Yeah, it's quite interesting. And apologize for the sound because there's constructions going on outside, but I'll do my best to edit it and or mute myself. But my follow-up question on this is especially you talk about the nine different ways to achieve more health, wealth, and happiness. Kind of, you don't have to tell all of them, but just kind of give us a general overview, kind of
ge-
what our
general overview is you're looking at basically spiritual, physical, and emotional health. So my book talks about all three areas, and whether or not it's trying to figure out how to eat well when you're working nights, or whether or not it's uh, to figure out how to work in some exercise that isn't just about work, so that's relaxing at the same time. And how to, like I said, our belief systems, gear our life. So I talk about belief systems in the book and how to look at them and see whether or not they're serving you. So, oh, I can't hear you.
The other thing is that we know in this really dynamic and really chaotic healthcare system, how can healthcare workers step away and find more work-life balance? A lot of the younger generation, they're talking about making clinical medicine work optional, as well as they talk about cross-transferable skill sets, and also they talk about portfolio careers, which you've done. So discuss all of that.
Okay. Um, so how to find the work-life balance? To be honest, I don't think there's ever really such a thing. There's balance, and then there's work, and there's work, and then you balance it. And it's trying to pull it all together to be sure that you have time for yourself, time for your family, and that you find a way of, when you leave work, you leave work. So many of us take our work home. Like, how many nights have you spent thinking, oh, how could I do that differently? Or could I do it better? Or if I try this, or maybe I could do that. And that's part of who we are as a group of people, because we love people. We want the very best for our patients. And it's about learning how to leave work at work and home at home.
I,
Go ahead.
I love that. And you talk about especially setting boundaries, and that's one thing I've been really working on, is just kind of just because there's so much that you can do and so much out of your control, and that leads to a lot of fear, worry, and anxiety. My next question for you is, talk about this role of perfectionism in healthcare and how this leads to more stress, how it leads, these concepts of imposter syndrome, and how the Vital Link helps healthcare with perfectionism and imposter syndrome.
Okay. Perfectionism is something that this is how I state perfectionism. It's a state of mind, not a state of being. Because in your mind you want it to be perfect, but in real life you have to adapt and be flexible and make things work. And so it's about understanding that you may want it this way in your mind, and in reality, this is how it's going to work. Right? It's about taking that idea and making it work and being happy with the results. So,
Yeah, really fascinating. The other question we were talking about backstage, which I really wanted to talk about, is this role of trauma. And you mentioned it's kind of which really piqued my curiosity, because you've written books and courses and help medical professionals. But how does this area of trauma, how does it fit into your overall experience in your work?
okay. Um, like I said, I've worked a lot of high risk areas, and when you work in, whether you're working as a nurse, a doctor, paramedic, you will inevitably run into something that is going to um, really affect your mind, your ability, and your trauma. So trauma is almost like a subjective thing. What traumatizes you might not traumatize me. However, it doesn't make it any less. So I think that preparing healthcare workers adequately before they go into the field, so they know what to expect, giving them the tools so that when they run into problems, they have something for them. Now, when people are working in the field and they have trauma, they can come to me, and I do have some tools and techniques that I use to help alleviate the trauma. And then we move forward with some activities that help solidify so that it's more functional. So,
I love that. Uh, yeah, I've really enjoyed this conversation. If people wanted to contact you, check out your work, how would they do so?
so I have a email you can contact me at, or I can also give you my scheduler, and you can just schedule a free 30-minute consultation, and I can let you know whether or not I can help you. So,
Yeah, yeah, and for all the audience out there listening, Sharon for coming on. Her book is probably on Amazon. I'm gonna check that out. Be sure to give her a like and follow on LinkedIn and Facebook, and check out her website as well. And all those resources will be in the links and show notes. And thanks so much for coming on.
oh, thank you very much. It was very nice to see you.